Good morning. It's great to see everybody. So today is Tuesday, the 22nd of October. Our topic is spiritual bypass, and this is the Healing the Heart of America course. The topic is spiritual bypass in America. We'll address it, as always, first on an individual level, and then look at what our culture does, what we do collectively to bypass. So let's just begin by sitting up straight with our feet flat on the floor. And as is our custom, let's start this meditation by saying good morning to our hearts, or good evening if you're over there in the far edges of the world. Just placing both hands, one hand on top of each other, over our hearts. Of course, it's easy to forget to check in where we start. So if that's easy, do that now. And just check in now. Just holding our hands over our heart for a minute and a half. What do you notice? Are you more settled? More calm? That's what most people experience. But whatever is right for you. I was wondering, why does this work? I always say the energy from the heart goes back into the heart. But what I realized that, I was thinking about it this morning, I thought, this all ties into the vagus nerve. The vagus nerve is one of the major nerves coming down from the brain. Vagus is a Greek term that means wanderer. And it wanders around through the heart. I don't know exactly where it goes. But it turns out that heart rhythm meditation, these are just pilot studies. I don't think they're not published yet. But heart rhythm meditation really strengthens and calms the vagus nerve. The tension in the heart calms the vagus nerve. So I think that's the physiological side of this one. So go ahead and let your hands down. Whatever your experience, it's okay. And now let's begin this process of heart rhythm meditation. This meditation using our heart and our breath that was developed by the very God-realized desert fathers and mothers, revived by Pran and Susanna Baer of I Am Heart. And always our first step is one of just noticing, watching our breathing. So let's just take a moment or two. Notice where our breathing is right now. Maybe compare it. Think back to the end of another meditation. And how does it compare, the beginning of a meditation to the end of a meditation? And now let's move into breathing consciously, starting with a very full exhale, pulling the abdominal muscles all the way back towards the spine. And then begin the slow inhale, slow exhale, very full breath, abdominal breathing. again, just notice your experience. Do you notice the effect of filling your system with this prana, with this life force? How does it change? How does your state change? Your presence, the vibration of energy within you. Now that we have this pattern of very full, deep breathing, let's find our heartbeat. Perhaps just feel it. Perhaps feel your pulse. Or just count. Just count rhythmically, inhaling to 8 heartbeats, exhaling to 8 heartbeats, or whatever number is right for you, just so the inhale and the exhale are even. Creates equilibrium between ourselves and the world. And let's just continue for a few minutes like this. And again, notice your experience. It helps to identify the effect that this breathing practice does, this heart practice does. So this morning, I want to go a little deeper into this diamond breath, the square breath. Not that we'll do it any differently, just that we start to build momentum, and it becomes easier to do the more we do it. That's why it's called a practice. So just as a reminder, this has a pattern that goes inhaling for 6 or 8 heartbeats, holding for 12 or 16 heartbeats, exhaling for 6 or 8 heartbeats. You could do 10, 20, 10, but whatever it is, just do it comfortably. And if you run out of breath, don't worry about it. Just take another breath, catch your breath back, start over again. It's not a failure, it's just a learning experience. That's all. So let's inhale to the count, I'll use 8. Inhale to the count of 8 beats. And hold for 16 beats. And exhale for 8 beats. Obviously, everyone has a different heart rate, so continue at your own path, your own pace. We want to continue with a full abdominal breathing with this. And it really helps to only inhale to about 3/4 full. So just finish up your last cycle. Yesterday, after this square breath, this diamond breath, we expanded out to the far edges of the galaxy, creation. This morning, let's go in a different direction. Let's expand inward. All of us by now are familiar with the chakra system. We worked with them last week. So in the Vedic tradition and in the Sufi tradition, there is an inner aspect of the heart. You have the heart chakra, and then the Sufis will call it the inverted sphere. I think Ramana Maharshi called it I forget what he called it. It might have been Hrit chakra, or maybe that's just a sound for it. But he identified it. Ramana Maharshi, this great master who everyone takes to be the leader of the self-inquiry movement, Who am I was his favorite question. Who am I? Who is having this thought? Who's having this experience? It's a great practice. But he also encouraged other meditation practices. And he said, it's never complete until you experience this inner chamber of the heart. He located it a couple inches below the heart and slightly to the right. The Sufis call it this inverted sphere. But as we take the heart down into the solar plexus, something happens. It's like this bowl that is reflecting back all the energy of the heart. So we access it partly by our intention, partly by our attention, and partly by surrendering our breath. So, I'm asking for all of us that it's okay that we begin to explore this inner chamber of the heart. And I'm getting a very clear yes to this. So let's just begin and we'll see how far we get into it. But it's easy to perhaps put your attention into your heart and move it downward. And it's not a place that you can force. It's an opening that happens. And on the breathing side, we mentioned yesterday feeling the far edges of the universe collapsing and expanding and collapsing and expanding, almost as if that causes our breathing, our inhaling and our exhaling. So just let go of the breath. This is not a conscious breath anymore. Would it be okay with us if we surrendered our breath to the rhythm of creation and allowed creation to organize our breathing for us? All the while, perhaps we start with our imagination, that we open up this space between the bottom of the heart and the solar plexus. It might even dip fully into the solar plexus. We open up this space deep within us. And is it okay with us if we allow ourselves to merge into this vast, open, inner space? Could we allow this inner space to expand, almost as though it's expanding around us, and we are just a small part of this vastness? Is it okay with us if we sink in even deeper into this inner chamber of our hearts? Even deeper. It's a very safe space, even though there is an element of the unknown there. Very, very safe space. The absolute home of creation. And check your breathing again. Could you allow it to surrender even more to the great cosmic breath? Could we allow this cosmic breath, could we allow ourselves to align with it? And whatever our experience here is, could we give ourselves some love and approval for being willing to step in this direction? No matter how deep we go or don't go, could we just allow that to be perfect, just the way it is? And let's reconnect to our heartbeat if we've lost it, which sort of happens in that experience. And let's look at this topic for today: spiritual bypassing in America. And of course, we always addressed it on an individual level first. So if you didn't get the email where I explain what spiritual bypassing is, It's this tendency for us to gloss over and ignore or suppress our issues, typically by using a spiritual practice. So we may be very upset, and instead of feeling that and dealing with it, we do a kind of meditation that calms us down through our head, through our nervous system, and more or less ignore that and say, aha, we're done. We solved it. Now, of course, we've sort of indirectly addressed this already, all during this course. It's very clear this course is about addressing these issues. And not just when they come up, we ask questions to stir them up. We might heal them, resolve them, and let them go. So the question that sort of comes up here is, and I'll ask this of everyone, because the traditional paths out of India, the Vedic and the Buddhic paths, consciously engage in spiritual bypass as a practice. They say it's the smart way to go, that you should transcend them, your issues, for two reasons. One is you sort of heal them along the way, and the other is no matter what, once we become fluent with our consciousness, established in being, it's very easy to heal these issues. It's another question of whether those issues ever come up or if they always lurk. And do they, all that suppressed energy, have a negative impact no matter how much consciousness we have? And I would argue they do. So the question is, for us, two questions. One is going to be, what are we suppressing? What are we not looking at? And of course, it's hard for the conscious mind to answer that question because it's suppressed, it's unconscious. But the other question I'm going to ask you is, what is your vision of a fully enlightened being? What does it look like? And to take one sort of extreme, we'll look at the character Spock from Star Trek, this Vulcan who has no emotions. Well, he's half human, so he has some, but I think you all get the idea. These Vulcans who cherish logic, the mind. So does enlightenment mean that we experience so much quietness, so much bliss, that we simply never experience these deep feelings that tend to run inside of humanity? Or does enlightenment mean we embrace them all and they are all alive within us? The answer is for you to decide. We all have our own picture. I'm clearly on the side of engaging the heart and embracing every part of creation, rather than living so fully in eternal bliss consciousness that it doesn't touch us. There's validity on both sides of this. So let's go back, because I'm going to assume that we do indeed have this value of pulling everything in, Would it be okay with us if we welcomed up whatever lacking feelings we have within us? The three classics are an insecure, lacking safety feeling, a lacking love and approval feeling, and lacking control or power. So what in your life would lead you to welcome up? What memory, what experience in your world with your family or coworkers would allow that lacking feeling to come up? That I'm not good enough. I'm not worthy. Notice when it starts to come up, particularly in this space of the heart where we are, that it comes up very faintly. In our daily life, it may come up very strong, very powerfully. But right now, it's just faint. Could you welcome up any insecurities, any fears? Experience them as part of yourself. Love them and let them go. And why don't we check to see if we have any judgments about ourselves, or do we have any judgments about other paths we may have been on, paths we may look at from afar. We all have this tendency to believe whatever we're doing is the most amazing path of all. That's why we're doing it. Or perhaps we've been on a path and we feel betrayed, we feel cheated because they didn't give us everything that we wanted. Could you welcome up that? Maybe it's a church or a religion. Could you welcome up your judgment there? Notice it's just a thought or a feeling. And when I say something is just a feeling or just a thought, it's not meant to say there's no value in them, but it's a way of saying it's something we create. It's something we are bigger than they are. We can shift them. Check to see if you have any fear or resistance or regret about Christianity, about how Christianity has shaped our cultures in certain ways. Just feel that, welcome that up. Could you allow that to just shift? How would the eyes of your heart see Christianity? Maybe it's not perfect. Seems to be helpful for many people. Could we at least go to a place of peace And I know some of us have some hard experiences in Christianity, a lot of judgment, a lot of guilt. Would it be okay with us if we just let that go? It's not helping us. And how about the Muslims? Our favorite source of fear nowadays. The wildly violent, slender branch of the Muslims, the terrorists, who, by the way, see themselves as freedom fighters. And it's not at all that I agree with terrorism, but when I listen to them, you realize they have their own grievances about how their world is treated by the West. And they say they're freedom fighters to throw off, the imperialist colonizers, so to speak. Can you check to see if you have any fear of terrorism? And whatever comes up, could you let that go? Feel it and let it go. The reality is, statistically, almost nobody dies from terrorist attacks. More people in this country die from insect bites and bee stings, that sort of a thing. It's way down the list. And domestic terrorism, many more people die from that than from international terrorism. Could you just welcome up any fear we have, any resentment, any hatred? Do we want to hang on to that? Or could we let that go? Or could we transform that? Transform that into love. What's going to be more effective for us? Fearing the Muslims? Fearing the terrorists? Or loving them? Which is more likely to change them? There's a saying, fear it, appear it. What we fear appears in our life. Could we let go of that fear? And let's expand this on the level of the nation. So we as a nation, in terms of spiritual bypass, what is it that we are not willing to look at? And I'd say it's a pretty fair bet to say we're not willing to look at our homeless and feel the pain of the homeless. We're not willing to look at the mentally ill and feel and embrace the mentally ill. We would rather have a blind eye to what we do to our environment rather than do the work and make the changes necessary to have us pure, clean water, air, and soil. This is what bypassing looks like on a national level. We sort of say, yeah, they exist, but we're not going to look at them. We're going to move ahead forward and just sort of trust they'll take care of themselves. And what I'm saying isn't totally fair, because large parts of America do want those changes and do look at them. But as a nation, not so much. We pass laws, we gut laws, we pass them again. If the country were united in terms of addressing pollution, poverty, mental health, if we were united, these would change immediately. There would be a national uproar. And all the politicians would jump on the bandwagon and get together and solve it. So could we check within ourselves? We'll be the proxies for America. What is it that gets in the way of our being united on these issues? Of our being willing to embrace them? What resistance is within you and me? I have it too. That keeps us from saying wholeheartedly, it's time to resolve this. What comes up for me is, don't know how. Don't know what to do. Don't think writing letters to my congressman is enough. So I go into apathy and don't do a thing. Whatever it is for you, could you welcome it up and let it go? It's just energy. Could we clear out the energy so that our resolve as a nation becomes clear? These are the priorities. Would it be okay with us if we welcomed up the blame that goes on in America, on both sides? Check to see if you individually are blaming one party or the other, or we're blaming politicians for not being great enough leaders. Is the blaming solving the problem? Could we open up to that blame, feel its energy, pull it into our hearts, and just transform it into resolve? We will have food and shelter for everyone in this country. We will create a safe environment for the mentally ill. We will have a clean environment. Of course, I just picked 3 out of many topics. I just picked them. There's no significance to those over others. They're probably more important to me, I guess. But whatever those topics are for you, could we all move into this place of absolute resolve, letting go of all blame, letting go of all resistance? And as we let go of the resistance and the blame, notice how strong the resolve becomes. And could we set the intention that this resolve fills up the heart of America, fills the public with the same resolve, and we allow these solutions to come forth? Let's just say yes, that's fine. And let that be our vision for America today. And with that, let's come back to our hearts. Perhaps feel the energy on the soles of your feet connecting to the earth. Just take a minute or two to open your eyes. You know, I got lost in that meditation and I ran long. So I'm inclined to not tell a story today and just allow anyone on the phone to hit *6 to unmute themselves if you're stirred up by anything that's been brought up or that's going on in your life, or anyone here in the room. It's not a rush. We can just sit here. And if you all wait long enough, I will tell a story. But I'd rather have the time to do the work if anyone's stirred up.
Hi.
Good morning. Oops. Hang on 1 second. I forgot to
Okay.
put you in the public speaker. Just 1 second. Okay. Good morning.
Good morning. This is Jean. I kind of laughed out loud when you said that you were going to tell us a story. So I guess that prompted me to buzz in. Last week, when I think it was last Monday, I asked you for help on my book.
Yes.
So I've been looking at different sites and whatever over some period of time. And I went to one site, and one is pay for it, pay for publishing, and the other one is, if it's good enough, they'll publish it. The one I don't have to pay for decided they want to publish it.
Decided they did want to?
Yeah, which is very, very cool. And I'm very excited about it.
We'll call that a gain then. It's a huge gain.
I think it's a huge gain. So I thought, well, and it was just by accident I came across them. I don't know how or what, because I really wasn't looking for it. And I'm surprised I didn't go to the other one first. And the one you pay for is, the two companies are affiliated. And I went to the one that you didn't, and I didn't know I was doing that. So I guess obviously the spirituality part kind of took over.
Wow.
And I did nothing.
Fantastic.
So that was it was huge. But I do have an issue I'd like to bring up.
Okay.
There's a dentist friend I've had for years. It was my husband's, and And the dental hygienist said something to me, and it was put me in a very vulnerable spot. And she asked me a question about the dentist, and I probably said something I shouldn't have said, and I have felt guilty ever since that point in time. It's been more than a week, maybe 10 days, and I'm trying to release on it and ho'oponopono and whatever, and I'm still feeling guilty about it.
So do you want to look?
Can you help me?
Let's look at guilt, okay?
Yeah.
All right, so good. So everyone, find a place that you feel guilty. And, let's just stir the pot here a little bit. White privilege, anybody here?
No.
Economic privilege here, anyone? Feeling guilty about anything? So, Jean, for you, it's guilt. And it's just about here what you said to this hygienist, right?
Mm-hmm. Right.
Good.
Something I would normally not have said, but she got me in a vulnerable spot, and when she said something to me, and that's kind of triggered it, and I would never have said anything before.
Well, you notice there's something here you want to change, right?
Yeah. Well, it's about my husband's passing, and she said something about it, and then she asked me a question because they were friends, and it was something about finances, and I said something I shouldn't have said. It's like,
Yes. There you are. You said something you shouldn't have said, and you know it. So
right.
when you're feeling guilty, can you welcome up that guilty feeling?
Yes.
Yes. Okay. And everybody else, whatever you're guilty about, whatever you did wrong when you were 3 years old, whatever it is, I know I'm making light, but just find it. We all have it. So, Jean, this guilty feeling, do you like it?
No, not at all.
No.
I hate it. It makes me feel even worse.
Yes.
And I think of the ripple effect, and
yes,
how it impacts his wife, my friend, and then their son who's in the practice. It's like,
we got it, Jean. We got it. So, does not liking this feeling make it go away?
No, I guess it doesn't.
No,
yeah, I guess what you said earlier, what you fear appears, or whatever
right.
it is.
Right, so all this not liking, it's really holding it right there. It's like a hook into that energy. Okay?
Yes.
Would it be okay with you if you let go of disapproving of this feeling?
Yes.
Would you let go of it some more?
Yes.
And more?
Yes.
And more?
Yes.
Yeah. Because you let go of disapproving of yourself for not being able to release this.
Yes.
Yes. And once you give yourself a little bit of approval, just because you tried to release it, you tried to do the right thing. So here's the thing. Are you disapproving of her?
I don't think so. Well, you know what? I take that back. I think so. Because
I thought so.
And I'm also disapproving of myself for being vulnerable. It's like, not having control over my emotions.
Yeah. So could you let go of disapproving of her?
Yes.
And let go of disapproving of her some more?
Yes.
And more?
Yes.
Yes. And could you give her some love and approval?
Yes.
And give her some more love and approval?
Yes.
And more?
Yes.
And could you give yourself some love and approval?
Yes.
And more?
Yes.
And more?
Yes.
Have you noticed when you let go of disapproval, you move into giving approval, you start to feel lighter, quieter, and easier?
Yes. Yes, very much so.
Now, would it be okay with you, now that you're lighter, quieter, you don't have so much energy on this topic?
Unfortunately, some anger is coming up now.
Good.
The lightness works, but now some more anger is coming up.
Good. Let's deal with the anger then. So can you welcome up the anger?
Yes.
It's just a deeper layer of the energy here, isn't it?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah, I feel like it's getting lighter now.
Okay. Let it go some more.
Yes.
Would it be okay with you if all that anger just disappeared.
Yes.
Yes. And let it go some more.
Yes.
Okay. How are you feeling right now?
Really good. Really good.
Would it be okay with you if you, now that you're feeling peaceful and easy, if you called her up and apologized for what you said?
Oh, to the hygienist? Okay.
Would that be okay with
Yeah.
you? You can say,
Yeah,
it's easy now, isn't it?
Yeah.
Yeah. Now, I'm not saying you should do that. It's just I want you to have that option. Okay.
I didn't want to stir it up. That's the whole thing, because I didn't want it to cause more problems. That's the reason I didn't call back. I thought about it. I tried to catch her as I left after I said it, and I couldn't. She ended up going in the back somewhere else.
Gotcha. So the fear of stirring it back up. Can you get in touch with that fear?
Yes.
Yeah. Can you welcome that fear up?
Yeah, I have more anger coming up.
Yeah, fear and anger. Okay. So, would it be okay with you if you welcome that up some more?
Yes. Mhm.
So I want you to imagine always, always, always saying things that you regret.
Yeah. Okay. I can identify with that.
So your whole life, every day, you end up saying something that you regret.
Okay.
All right? Now, how does that feel? Does that stir up some energy inside of you?
Right now, it seems kind of silly and funny.
Good. Good. So could you be at peace, even if you have, funny lips that say funny things without your approval?
Mm-hmm. Yes.
You could be at peace, couldn't you?
Yes, I could.
And don't we all do things like that?
Oh, we all do.
We all do. So could you be easier on yourself, less judgmental on yourself?
Yes, I can.
You can, couldn't you? Yeah. So imagine never, ever, ever saying anything that offends anyone. How does that feel to you? How does that feel to you?
Feels good. That's
so
good.
Let me stir that side of it a little bit. So you never, ever, ever say anything that ruffles anyone's feathers, and everyone says, yeah, that Jean, she's just a goody two-shoes who's afraid to speak her mind.
Well, there's a lot of truth to that. Anyway, but it's bringing up some anger with you saying that.
Yeah, of course. So can you welcome that anger?
Yeah.
And let it come up some more. Let it go.
Okay.
Yeah. Would it be okay with you if you either spoke your mind or you didn't? And either way, you're living in peace.
Yes, I think, with kindness, yeah.
It's okay. And can you be totally free to speak your mind even if it offends someone?
Some more anger came up.
Good. I'm guessing you've been shutting yourself down over the years.
For some reason, some more anger came up.
Yeah. Yes. Welcome that anger up. And welcome up some more.
Yes.
So you see, the more you play with this, the more anger keeps popping up, right?
Yes.
So would it be okay with you if you just on your own kept on exploring and finding where this anger is?
Okay.
And that's just sort of your homework here, because it just keeps coming up. All right? And notice how good you are at letting anger go. You see that?
Okay, yeah.
All right?
Yes.
Okay, now, right now, what's coming up for you?
I want to be safe.
Yes. Yes. So can you welcome up that lacking safety feeling?
Yes.
Just let that transform into safety.
Hmm.
Can you do that? Is that easy?
Yes. Yes.
Yeah. Give yourself some more safety. Jean,
Yes.
in your book, are you not speaking out freely?
Am I not speaking out? I'm not sure what you mean.
Aren't you speaking out when you've written this book already, right?
Oh, yes. Yes.
And
I just sent the manuscript a few days ago, and I got a contract. I didn't expect that. It's like, what? A contract?
You know,
And I said, they'll pay for the formatting, they'll do this and this, and it's a 3-year contract.
good.
They're telling me about the royalties and
Nice.
whatever. So it's been a long time in writing, and
here's my point, Jean.
okay.
When you were writing that book to get it published, which is a remarkable thing in today's era, were you not speaking out freely?
Yes, I wasn't, because nobody wants to hear about someone who's passed away. They don't want to hear about it.
Yes. And
I haven't had that place to even speak.
Right.
You know, I mean, you can go to support groups, but I don't want to keep going over and over.
Jean, what I want you to recognize is that you must have been speaking out and expressing yourself well for your book to have gotten a contract.
Well, I use a lot of my own personality in it.
Good. So can you give yourself...
I did.
Can you
it's all FAQ.
Jean, can you recognize you're quite capable of speaking out?
Thank you. I guess I needed to hear that. Yes.
Yeah, that's where I'm going here. Okay?
Thank you.
And if once in a while it turns out that there's an unintended effect, because you didn't intend to offend your dental hygienist, but sometimes there's an unintended effect, and then you can just go clean it up.
Yeah.
So allow yourself to be safe, knowing that if you offend someone, you can always go clean it up.
Right.
Okay? Because you allow some more safety.
More of a control thing.
Okay? Could you let go of one you control?
Yes.
Okay?
Well, I guess some anger's come up with it.
Yeah. Just keeps on moving around, doesn't it?
Yes.
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 Okay. So what I want you to do, because we just moved from feeling to feeling to feeling here. So I want you to just take that as your homework. Okay?
Okay.
And allow yourself freedom. The idea is to allow yourself the freedom to express yourself fully, with love, and with fearlessness. In fact, why don't we go here just for a second? Because you allow yourself to move into courageousness.
Okay.
So for everyone in the audience listening in, just go back to some time in your life when you were really courageous, or borrow the experience from a character in a book or a movie when they were very courageous, and feel courageous right now. Whatever you're facing in your life, would you rather fear it, or approach it with fear, or approach it with courage? Which would you prefer, Jean?
Courage, definitely.
Courage. Yeah. Now, could you allow even more courage into your life?
Yes.
And even more courage?
Yes.
The courage we define as doing what you need to do no matter what. Okay? So would you be willing to speak out the truth you need to speak out no matter what?
Yes.
Ah, that felt like a yes. Nice.
Yes.
Okay. So can you look back at your experience with this dental hygienist through the eyes of courage?
Yes.
Now that didn't sound strong.
I know. some doubt was coming up. Well, it's about her, telling the other employees because it was about the dentist. That's the reason.
Yeah. So there you go. You got your fear there again.
Okay.
So let's just go out deeper into this. So there she is. She tells all the other employees, your dentist is really angry with you. You might have to go get a new dentist, or he might slip with his fingers with a scalpel in his mouth or something like it, with a drill.
Mm-hmm.
Okay?
Yeah.
So can you feel all that? And how does that feel to you?
Oh, it's sadness. It's sadness. It really is.
So
you lost the relationships, the wife and, the dentist and the family.
So there you are. Can you feel that sadness?
Oh, my gosh. It takes me back to another incident with that same person. Not with a dental hygienist, but the dentist's wife. She was upset with me because my daughter said, we thought you'd be there after our dad died, and you weren't. And I repeated it to her. And normally I wouldn't have said that, but she was upset with me for saying that. But I feel like, I needed someone to be there. I needed someone. So it's going back to that 7 years ago.
You keep going back into long stories.
Okay.
And it's okay. A little bit, just to pull up the energy is okay, but let's feel the energy first.
Okay.
So you have this long history here, right? So imagine that they just say, we don't want you anymore. And you got that long history, and they're just saying, too much happens. You say things that just hurt us, and we don't want to be friends anymore. We want you to go find another dentist, because this just isn't worth it to us.
Mm-hmm.
So, okay, what feeling, what energy comes up there? Any sensations? Feelings?
Some sadness.
Good.
Some. It's not deep, but some.
So can you welcome up that sadness and let that go?
Okay.
Let it go some more.
Yes.
Let it go some more.
Yes.
Where I'm inviting you to go is to a place, because we're squeezing the limit on this one here. I'm inviting you to go to a place where they totally cut off the relationship. They don't want to talk to you anymore. And you're completely at peace with that.
Okay.
Can you go there?
Yes.
Can you allow more peace?
Yes.
And can you allow even more peace?
Yes.
Can you notice that experience of peace is independent of how they respond to you?
Mm-hmm.
Is that a real yes, or is that sort of yes?
I'm not quite sure what you mean.
So I'm saying to you, you can go into peace. I know you can. You've done it before.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And I'm asking you to recognize that peace is really independent of what happens in your life.
Oh, yes, absolutely. Yes, yes.
Really. If you're in peace, and this dentist and the whole practice wants nothing to do with you.
Mm-hmm.
That doesn't sound like a convincing
No, I'm sitting with it and thinking about what you're saying. Thinking about what you're saying.
Are you wanting love and approval from the dentist and his practice?
To a certain extent.
Good. And is that wanting love and approval giving it to you?
If giving love and approval, give it to me. If I
is the fact that you want love and approval from them creating a situation where you get love and approval from them?
No.
It doesn't, does it?
No, yes, I have to give it myself.
Right. Could you let go of
my own?
Yes. Could you let go of wanting love and approval?
Okay.
Okay?
Yes.
Could you let go of wanting love and approval some more?
Yes.
Could you give yourself some love and approval?
Yes.
And more.
Yes.
And more.
Yes.
And more.
Yes.
And how are you feeling right now?
Much better.
Good. And the other side, imagine that they totally forgive you and they want you to be in a relationship with them and they want your business and they want your friendship. Are you okay with that?
Yes, I am.
Yeah, I would imagine so. Even if you have a history of saying inappropriate things, right?
Yes.
Yes. And imagine that. They still like you.
Well, that'd be nice.
Okay. Can we leave it there?
Yes. Yes, most definitely.
All right. Thank you very much.
And can I say one more game?
Sure.
I also talked about my foot and how it's bothering me, and then we were talking about the book.
Right.
I found a process of what I could do, and it's much better, and I haven't been to physical therapy since then.
Wow.
So I'm on the right path, and I go, yes.
Those are big gains.
Oh, it's a huge game. It's a huge game.
Do me a favor. Write them down and send them in to me.
I'd be delighted.
Thank you very much. It always helps, and those are really nice gains you're having.
Thank you. Yes.
Okay.
Thank you very much.
All right. Thanks, Jean. And I'm going to say it's past 10:15, and I'm going to unmute everyone.
Thank you. Thank you, Stephen.
Thank you. It was absolutely
Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you so much, you guys.
I so appreciate you.
All right. Let's go in this meeting. Yeah.